Hello friends, today I am going to discuss about waste management unit 10 of BEVAE 182. So let's get started. Sorry, BEVAE 181. Sorry, it's a little mistake from my part. So let's get started. Waste management. About waste management, this chapter is talking mainly about two waste: hazardous waste and municipal solid waste. So let's get started into hazardous waste. Hazardous waste have four characteristics mainly. So we will be five characteristics mainly. So we will be looking at it one by one. One is ignitability. Ignitability in the sense that it catches fire easily. Okay, it may catch fire easily. Second is corrosiveness. Corrosiveness in the sense that it wears away other materials. That is, when it reacts with other material, it destroys other materials. That's called corrosiveness. And third is reactivity. Reactivity in the sense that it reacts strongly with water or explodes on reaction with other materials. And third is radioactivity. It releases certain ionizing radiations, and these radiations are very harmful to human beings, such that they might cause cancer also. Then fifth characteristic is toxicity. It causes symptoms of poisoning. Okay, now let me come to a conclusion that any of the waste which has one of its any of its characteristics, that is, if it is has a ignitability, it is considered to be a hazardous waste, or if it has corrosiveness, it's considered to be a hazardous waste, or if it contains all these five characteristics, then also it is considered to be a hazardous waste. Now coming to pathogens. Pathogens are agents which cause symptoms of ailments or ailments itself. Now, in this textbook, the pathogens are divided into three. One is mutagenic. What is mutagenic pathogens? Mutagenic pathogens are one which causes undesirable genetic changes. Okay, that is number one. And second is teratogenic. Teratogenics are the pathogens which cause some girls or some morphological abnormality. Morphological abnormalities means some abnormalities in the body structure. And third type of pathogen is carcinogenic, which cause cancer, as you all know. Then in the textbook, there is a differentiation which is given between toxicity and hazardous. What do you mean by toxic and hazardous? All hazardous waste are not considered to be toxic, whereas all toxic waste are considered to be hazardous. That is the main difference between toxic versus hazardous and hazardous. Okay. Now coming on to concept of waste management, that is concept of hazardous waste management. How hazardous waste are being managed? There are four strategies which is adopted here. That is waste minimization and waste recycling. Second is waste recycling. Third is waste treatment. Fourth is collection, transport and disposal of waste in an environmental friendly manner. So these are the four strategies which is taken for the hazardous waste management. Hazardous waste management, I repeat, first is waste minimization, second is recycling of waste, third is waste treatment, fourth is collection, transportation and disposal of waste in an environmental friendly manner. So we are going to check it one by one. Moving to the first strategy called waste minimization. Waste minimization is the first strategy. So waste minimization is the sense that reducing the amount of waste in general. So there are three ways we can achieve it. One is process modification, second is waste concentration, third is waste segregation. First is process modification, second is waste concentration, third is waste segregation. So what do you mean by process modification? First, process modification is a way in which the raw materials which is being used to produce some items are being reduced to a substantial amount so that the waste produced will also decrease. Okay, that is called process modification. That is, for example, is that I want to produce a certain amount of item and a certain quantity of raw materials is being required. If I have an efficient processing units, I can reduce the raw materials for producing that particular item to a drastic level, to a significant level, that the waste generated by production is so low. So that is called process modification. That is reducing the raw materials for production process in order to reduce the waste. That is one way of waste minimization. Second is the waste concentration. That is reducing the volume of waste, because example is oxidation of inflammable material, etc. Then third is waste segregation. Waste segregation, you all know that separating the recyclable waste with non-recyclable, or hazardous waste, sorry, separating hazardous waste with non-hazardous waste, so that non-hazardous waste could be used for various purposes. So this is called waste segregation. So this is the end of waste minimization. Now we are going to the second strategy we call as recycling of waste. Recycling of waste is easy because we need to recycle some of the waste like scrap metals. Aluminum scrap metals can be used again, can be recycled again. So such example is being given. So that is only in waste recycling. Then third is treatment of hazardous waste. Treatment of hazardous waste is the third strategy, and it's very important because many treatments are being possible. One is physical treatment, second is chemical treatment, third is biological treatment, fourth is solidification, and fifth is incineration. So we are going to discuss it one by one. Then first is physical treatment. Physical treatment is mainly lagooning and tank storage. Tank storage, okay. What is lagooning and tank storage? In a general, we can say that the impurities are being collected in a water body, and these impurities are given time to settle down, and the settled down impurities are collected separately. So this is called what? Lagooning and tank storage. Then another is chemical treatment. This is called physical treatment in general. So I am not going in-depth analysis to it. Then chemical treatment. Chemical treatment consists of neutralizing acidity or alkalinity of the waste, then oxidation, chemical reduction, neutralization, heavy metal precipitation, etc. a bit, because some of the waste would contain some of the so-called high metals, which may be harmful to the surroundings, etc. So what happens is that such kinds of chemical reactions would separate separate or treat these hazardous particles separately. So that is these are some chemical reactions, that's chemical reduction, neutralization, heavy metal precipitations, etc. Then biological treatment. Biological treatment consists of three main processes. One is conditioning, second is digestion, third is composting. Now, what do you mean by conditioning? Conditioning in the sense that sludge is being exposed to the atmosphere. So that what happens is that it is exposed to an atmosphere until a consistency is reached. Then we are going to digestion. Okay, in the digestion process, what happens is that this sludge is being reacted with a bacteria, so that the large sludge is broken into simple ones. Then composting is this method where organic matter in the waste sludge is being separated and used for various purposes. So this is the biological treatment, and biological treatment consists of conditioning, digestion, and composting. Conditioning, that is exposing to sludge to atmosphere. Then second is digestion, that is reacting sludge with the bacteria. Third is composting, obtaining the organic matter from the sludge. Then we are going to the fourth is that is solidification. Fourth way of waste treatment, that is solidification. That is, we are solidifying some sort of insoluble liquid waste, okay, into a hard rock or hard solid, so that it can be disposed into some landfills without any further harm. Okay. Now next is about incineration. Incineration is you may know that because burning of some hazardous waste in a closed environment is basically called incineration. So that is what about incineration. Now these are the ways of waste treatment, etc. Now we have discussed about waste minimization, recycling of waste, waste treatment. So these are the 4 strategies for the management of hazardous waste. And the transport and cycling, we transportation and disposal of these hazardous waste we now need to discuss further, okay, because it can we need to just have an idea about it. Then solid waste management. So what do you mean by solid waste? So what do you mean by solid waste? Sorry for the interruption. Solid waste. So solid waste are the municipal solid waste in general. So what are the strategies which is used for this waste management of solid waste is that there are basically 4 R's. You can use 4 R's, that is reduction in raw materials, one thing. And second is reuse of waste material. Third is recycle of waste material. Fourth is energy recovery of that waste material. Okay? That is 4th thing, that is reduction in raw material. Second is reuse of waste material. Third is recovery of materials, recycle of materials. Fourth is energy recovery. So we can discuss it one by one. Reduction in raw material and solid waste, it is very easy, because we have studied in waste minimization that reducing the raw material, the same. Then reuse of waste material, this also we have known that because for example is that we are going to purchase some of the commodities to the groceries with some covers, and that covers can be used for a couple of days or couple of times continuously or frequently without without buying new covers. Okay, so that is also a reusing of materials. And third is material recovery and recycling, material or recycling in general. That is, we can say that about 10 to 50% of the solid waste are recoverable or recyclable in nature. So recyclable is also being possible, because for example is that fly ash from thermal power plants can be used to make bricks for construction. So this is one important thing also. Then another is energy recovery. Energy recovery is very important, because 70% of the components that comprise organic waste are organic in nature. So this organic waste can be used to create energy also. So energy recovery is also being possible. Now we are going to see about disposal of waste. In disposal of waste, we are going to collectively look at how we can dispose hazardous waste as well as the solid waste, that is municipal solid waste, okay, in general. Now generally disposal of waste is carried on by some methods. The textbook mentions these methods: landfill disposal, incineration, dumping at sea, underground disposal. So landfill disposal is a landfill is a land which is exclusively allocated to manage waste. Okay, now landfills are properly maintained. Landfills are there, and non-proper and there are landfills which are not properly maintained, and these non-properly maintained landfills are called open dumps, because they are open dumps in the sense that what are the waste which is exposed in the landfill are hazardous to the other areas, because it can cause infection and many other environmental problems also. And there are also properly maintained landfills, the sanitary landfills, etc. Okay, now in a properly maintained sanitary landfills cause little damage to the environment, as I mentioned below. And what happens is that this area need to be lined with a non-porous substance such as clay or high density polyethylene, so that it will prevent waste from from leaking to the surrounding areas. So this is the properly maintained sanitary landfills. Okay, and landfill has a certain capacity. So after some capacity, what happens is that landfills can be used for certain recreational areas like parks, etc. Okay, that is also we can do, or some farming also. Then incineration. Incineration is, I have told you before that incineration is the combustion of the waste material in a closed environment, and this is very seems to be very attractive, lucrative way to for the waste management. But what the problem is that it is very costly if the heat which is produced during this burning is not being utilized properly. So it is the more expensive, bit expensive compared to other materials. Then dumping at sea. Dumping at sea is also a way of disposal of waste, but it is not environmental friendly because hazardous waste, because it would hurt the aquatic life more more profoundly. Now, many international legislations have banned the dumping of the hazardous waste. So as I told you before, certain international legislation has banned the dumping of hazardous waste into the ocean. So where does the hazardous waste can be dumped? So it is underground, but underground disposal. But underground disposal, to our knowledge, to my knowledge, it is only the one underground disposal is there in our in the world, that is in Herfa Neuroid in the Federal Republic of Germany, now United Germany. So these underground disposals are particularly there in inactive mines, and it is environment as well as cost effective also, but the places need to be very inactive places. It should not be a populated places. Okay, and the lonely underground disposal for the hazardous waste is there in Herfa Neuroid in Federal Republic or in Germany. Herfa Neuroid. Okay, that you need to understand a bit. Now about waste management in India. Waste management in India, we need to understand that the major contributors of waste in India is industries. 50% of waste produced in industries are hazardous waste. And there is also a problem which is arising due to improper treatment of this waste also. So there are many problems. Okay. Now, households also contributes to the waste problems in our country. Now, prevalent methods of disposals in India is disposal along with the city refuse, disposal on riverbeds and banks, open pit burning, disposal in low-lying areas, estuaries and seas, burning in self-designed incinerators. So these are the possible ways of the disposals in our country. One is disposing along the city roads. Second is disposing on riverbeds, banks, open pit burning, disposal in low-lying areas such as seas, estuaries, etc. Then burning in self-designed incinerators. Okay. Now, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has notified solid waste management rules 2016. They have notified solid waste management rules 2016. This rule makes it mandatory to segregate non-hazardous, recyclable, non-recyclable and hazardous waste for a user. Okay, we need to, according to this rule, we need to segregate hazardous, recyclable, non-recyclable wastes. Okay, then the last portion of this lesson is impact of improper waste disposal. This is causing many of the problems like direct injection through drinking, that is some drinking water can be contaminated. Then inhalation of contaminant that volatilize from heated water, that is some of the hazardous particles is easily volatile in nature, so that will cause some sort of difficulties and cause some lung disorders also. Then second is the absorption through skin during washing and bathing. This is also an important one. If you are bathing in a contaminated water, it will cause some sort of skin problems. Then fourth is injection through consumption of food derived from plants or animals exposed to polluted groundwater. So if the polluted groundwater, if plants or animals consume polluted groundwater, and if that plants and animals are being consumed by us, our health will be also in danger. So that is easy to understand. And fourth is some skin problems also. That is absorption through the skin when handling contaminated soil. That is, when we are handling some contaminated soil, our skin will also get some sort of problems. So these are the ways in which some of the ways in which which are the some of the impacts caused by the improper waste disposal. With this, this chapter ends. I hope you understood my session. If there are any problem or there need to be any improvement from my side, please let me know in comments. Thank you.